Yeah, we're here this year, and my name is Thomas Holm. I'm here with Thomas Holm.
Yes, we did that.
Yeah, our factory manager, and we're here with Christian.
If you want to have the best time, you want to have exact same people as well.
Yeah, exactly. Christian Pedersen, our product manager, and we're here to demonstrate these products for you. So we call them Rubikore because they're actually the love child between our old Rubicon series and the Dali Core. So Rubikore combined. We have used the same cabinet shape as you know from the Rubicon series that we did before, but everything else has been changed in these speakers. Completely new drivers, completely new finishes, new bass ports, new crossovers, everything has been updated with all the core technologies that we could. So first off, we're using our well-known hybrid tweeter, which is a tweeter system consisting of two tweeter types. A planar magnetic tweeter for the upper frequencies from around 12 to 14 kilohertz and upwards, and then a soft dome tweeter for going down to the mid-range. And the reason why we like to use these two different types is because the soft dome is really good down in frequency, down where the mid-range overlaps. It can be really good up in frequency, but what happens when you have any type of dome, no matter what material it's made from, when the frequency goes upwards, it loses its dispersion. It becomes directional. And at Dali we have a sound design principle we call wide dispersion. We want the speakers to have a very nice and wide, even dispersion of energy in the room. And we optimize our speakers to have the best response off-axis at around 25-30 degrees, which means that we don't angle our loudspeakers inwards, which is an acronym for Dali. We don't angle loudspeakers inwards.
That's great.
Okay, so the thing we changed here that we learned from the core is that the soft dome is now is not using ferrofluoride oil in the magnet gap. Did I bring it down? Yeah, I can pass this around. And we also have a design principle we call low loss. We don't want the speakers to have any mechanical losses, electrical losses. None of the signal from the amplifier should get lost into braking effects or into heavy materials or something like that that prevents it from coming out as movement into the driver. And you can imagine if you take a voice coil that has to move 10,000 times a second back and forth and you dump it into a bath of oil, that will prevent the movement. It would be a viscous damper like the shock absorber in your car, so the faster it wants to go, the more it dampens itself. But as Thomas will probably know, when you use oil in the magnet gap, it's a good coolant for the voice coil, that's one thing, but it's also a little production secret that if you use oil, you can center the voice coil in the gap more precisely or easily, and that gives a better yield out of the factory, so you don't have to scrap as many units because of tolerances. So using a tweeter like this makes it a little bit more difficult to produce, but it gives us the ability to let the tweeter be completely free of movement. We don't get anything holding back on the movement, so you get these very clear transparency from the tweeter driver, but also these very nice details, very good at starting and stopping, and also very easy to drive for the amplifier.
Thomas, it looks like it's a large ferrite magnet.
Yes.
The tweeter. Is there an advantage to large ferrite versus neon?
Well, in principle, the neo magnets are much stronger and should, in theory, be better. But when you listen to it, you often find that the ferrite magnets actually sound better. It's not something I'm making up. We did a lot of tests on that, and we prefer the ferrite for this application.
Cool.
It's also a little bit more environmental friendly.
Absolutely.
And it's cheaper.
Cheaper?
So there's a thing like on, if you design it right, you can get great results from neodymium also on tweeters, and the core tweeter is using a neo ring. But we want to get also, when we go below our flagship, as much sound quality as possible.
Sure, and you have no size constraint here, so there's really no need for it, right?
Lars told me as well that neodymium has a problem with, it's not as temperature stable as ferrite is. So if the temperature rises, you can actually get more distortion out of a neodymium system than you do with ferrite.
Usually you would use neodymium if you are short of space.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you do when really small tweeters, you use it because then you can get the sensitivity you need. Because often you have the magnets inside the voice coil. Here, sensitivity is not an issue. So that's why there's no need for extra power. We have enough.
Fantastic.
Okay. So talking about tweeters and details and all that, I'll try and showcase that with a classical guitar piece with a Spanish guitarist called Jakob Dudovic, who plays Spanish guitar. Try and notice when he plucks the strings, for example, how clear it is and how good the system is at kind of starting and stopping without it sounding edgy or harsh or anything. It's just very smooth and very open at the same time. So let's try that. I just need to find the volume level. 69. Here we go.